So one of the things is being a traveling athlete, Roger, for so many years, I'm sure you were on tons of flights and basically got to see all of our country and cities, if not once, twice, or multiple times. I know you live in Houston, but of all the traveling you did around the United States, are there any other segments or states of our country that you would live yourself or really enjoyed, or any that kind of stuck out to you as the highlights of the USA?
Great question. Yeah, great question. So I've been fortunate to travel quite a bit. We love Austin and Houston, obviously. My wife is very spiritual and does jewelry and stuff. DebbieClemens.com. You guys can look. She makes different kind of magnetic stuff and jewels and stuff. She has fun doing it. She loves Sedona for the spiritual part. It's a postcard out there. We got a little place out there, and it's a postcard. We have a golf course in Scotland that's going to be on TV this summer. We have the Scottish Open. We were awarded the Scottish Open.
This is your golf course.
It's CEO. We built with about 12 years ago with the CEO of Insperity, was at Mendestaff, and his dream with his brothers was to have a place, and so it'll be on TV this week. I love those people over there. They're fun to. They love their golf. They love the drink over there, but can't stand. But they have a great time. Went to Japan twice for Team USA, and loved seeing their culture and their baseball over there. But like I was telling Evan behind the scenes, I love history, and fortunately I got to make some of it, and I got to meet. It was really fun for me being in Boston and New England for all those years because I got to meet a lot of the Kennedys. And so I have a lot of artifacts from JFK, and then of course the Bush family doesn't live too far from us in Houston, and 41 was really close. We played a lot of golf and stayed with them in Kennebunkport.
I mean, I don't know how many times I'd watch an Astros game, and there are George and Barbara Bush, right, sitting in those seats.
And Barbara's a bigger baseball fan than anybody in this room, including me. She keeps score.
Hey, here you go. Whoa.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. The thing I was thinking about, though, as you said earlier, playing in New York and playing in Boston, those are tough. I mean, we love traveling around, seeing the country, being in the country, but those are two tough markets to play baseball in, don't you think?
Well, the fans love it, and they're passionate about it. So I mean, as a player, you love it. I mean, when I'm driving in the stadium to pitch, and you see, say, New England, I'm driving in, and you see license plates from 5 different states rolling in because they know it's your 5th day in your day to pitch. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and when they're mad at you, they let you know about it.
Well, they do.
Yeah. Sir.
You know, what really happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah.
It just seems so incredibly unfair, like the fellow that was in jail for 25 years and finally the process has worked out. He was
it's a little,
that inside,
I totally agree.
know.
It's tough for my family to watch some of the stuff that was going on and like the hearings and stuff of just recently, because it kind of churned their stomach. I got a sister lives in Round Rock, and one lives in Pearland, and they were getting flooded. It kind of got them worked up again. I said, it's that we did it the proper way. We went about it the right way, and like I said earlier, we stopped some guys from. This guy was selling my name, running around the country, telling me he was a trainer. And it was such a farce. Like I tell people, it'd be like I told one of the reporters, I saw you out at the park the other day around a bunch of young kids. I make one comment, it sticks in the thing about you being a molester or something. Then that's you. It sticks with you forever. So. We did it the right way. The guy used our name. They never came to talk to us. Like Evan said, I went through Olympic testing. Every testing that I've ever played, season I played, I've done it. So I tell kids, I tell people, that only hurts your body. The guys that supposedly did it or did do it that they've admitted to, it broke their bodies down. They broke down, and so again, I don't put a lot of stock in it. They needed a name to get. The guy got paid, I think, $45 million, and had nothing in the report until he used my name. Never came to speak to me once. So, not once.
Real quick, Darryl May, another professional.
Who's that now?
Darryl May, another pitcher.
Darryl May?
Professional pitcher. Do you know Darryl? At any rate, he had said from the inside that the players are, real serious about these allegations as well, and are really down on it. It's like, hey, we're all here. We've done it the right way. We hadn't used that, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And that there's only been like about 6,000 people who've ever played professional baseball. I mean, the number of the people that want and then do it is so infinitesimal that they're as serious about it as anyone else. And it just seems really rotten to me.
Like I said, I don't think it helps you. I think it hurts you in general. So, but like I said, we don't worry about it too much. And like I said, I was never like worried about facing a guy that I thought could hit. You still have to hit. And these numbers, they're getting inflated. It's even, for the purists, we were talking a little bit about earlier, the game has changed so much. The bats are harder. Guys throw faster. The ballparks are more. The ball flies further. There's so much in the game that continues to change. But the biggest compliment, one of the biggest compliments I ever got, I played in the Bob Hope tournament for many, many years, and I got to play. One year, finally, we hooked up. Yogi Berra wanted us to hook up, and I got to play with Yogi. And Yogi leaned over to me and said, "Kid, you could have pitched in our era." And that's a huge compliment.
Pretty big compliment.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here.
All right,
you
here we
bet.
go.
You bet.
Here you go, George. Commissioner, what's up?
Hey, Roger. You should be in the Hall of Fame. If
Thank you,
had
dear. I
to vote,
appreciate it.
I would
Yeah,
vote for
good.
you
Thank
for
you.
that. It is seared into my brain forever. The first time I ever walked into a major league stadium and the first game I ever saw, 1965, Sandy Koufax on the mound.
good one.
Pretty darn cool.
That's a pretty good one to
Dodger
go to.
Stadium.
Right.
What was that moment for you? When were you first attending a Major League Baseball game? What was that moment for you?
Yeah, so it went pretty quick. I came off Texas. We beat Alabama for the national championship here, and I don't know, a month or so I was signed with the Red Sox, and it was surprising me. I almost didn't know where New England was at because the Astros and the Rangers had scouts all over us here on campus. And so when the Red Sox got me, it went pretty fast. Go from the College World Series pitching in front of 15, 20,000 fans. They sent me to a place called Winter Haven, Florida. There were 7 people in the stands. You could see the guy in the red shirt calling you a bum. No. So, so I whisked through there pretty quick. And then I remember my first trip to Boston. They flew me into Boston. And I've never seen Fenway Park, the green monster and all the green grass and the colors.
It's almost nothing in the world like it, right?
Nothing like it. I was in a taxi, and I think this was before cell phones, like '84, unless somebody had that great big shoe-looking thing, that you had, right? And had my head down in a paper. The guy stopped, said, "Here you go, kid." And I look out the window, and we're parked right next to a brick building. Looked like a warehouse. I told the cabbie, no. I'm a professional ball player. I'm playing for the Red Sox. I need to go to Fenway Park. It's a baseball stadium. He goes, "This is it, kid. Get out of my cab." So I get out and I walk in, and the team brought me right up the tunnel, and it was unbelievable.
Big
So,
aha moment for you.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. What's up, kid? What do you got there? That Yankee cap
This will
on?
be a good one, actually. Go.
What was your favorite team to play for?
Which was your favorite team to play for?
Whoa, man, loaded question.
Look at this.
I guess I got to say the Yankees, don't I? Better answer that right.
Right, seriously.
You still want me to sign that ball? Today's Wednesday. I don't sign on Wednesdays. So no, I'm kidding. Come up here. Come here.
Come on up. Climb up on stage. There you go. All right, good.
Here you go, champ. You came ready to go. I mean, that was a loaded question.
17 years of this show, this is the first time anybody has come up on stage to get a ball signed. This is good.
There's that turn. Let me do your jersey. Come here.
Oh, you're going to sign his shirt also. Look at that. Pretty good. You're getting away pretty good here, buddy.
There you go,
All right,
baby.
thank you.
Okay.
Here's
you
your
go, champ.
pen. Here you go. Thank you. All right, great. Sir. Hey.
Was there one pitcher on an opposing team that when you were pitching, you said, "I better bring my A game today"?
Yeah, I faced a lot of number ones. Greg Maddux comes to mind, and I tell the kids, just total opposite. You don't have to throw 95, 97 miles. Mad Dog threw maybe topped out at 86.
Right.
Fantastic control, pinpoint control. And I knew within the first 2 innings, if he's on, that I could not go out there, like you said, and have a hiccup and give up a 2-run home or something early.
I mean, you make a
Absolutely.
good point. Not everybody who has been successful over the years, even remotely, has been a fastball pitcher.
That's
I mean,
right.
I think about the Necros. Those are always the examples that come to mind, right?
A unique guy, knuckleball guy too. But again, when my arm was dragging or kind of what we call underwater, and I was at 91, 92. Even later in my career, where they said, like I said, "Oh, how can you pitch?" Well, all you have to do is look. My split finger was even more devastating. I used it more.
How fast was the splitter?
Split was usually about 10 miles an hour off my fastball. So if I was sitting at 95, it would sit at 85. and hopefully sit, because if it didn't sit, it was like a BP fastball.
Well,
and
we
it goes
go right
along-
out of the park. Exactly, right.
It goes a long way that way.
We've all seen that. Thank you. Here you go. Whoop, that's okay. Sir.
Firstly, my wife and I watched you pitch at Disch Falk a number of times. I want to thank you
Yeah, it
for
was
just
fun
some
here.
great games.
Absolutely.
My question is, talk a little bit about the mindset of a pitcher, a successful pitcher in the major leagues. And I'd like to reference something where I saw you pitching, it was on TV. Batter swung, bat broke, piece of the bat came out about halfway towards the mound. You were incensed. You walked over there, picked up the bat, and kind of gestured towards the batter. You know, it was a broken bat.
Yeah.
You seem like a very nice guy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You seem, I will say, you seem a lot nicer now.
Yeah, well, I don't want to come in your workplace either on the day you're working and you guys have a little of a problem going on and trying to have. No, so I obviously was very serious about my work. To answer your three phases, physically, I was where I always needed to be. The work I did behind the scene. Somebody wrote a saying about me, and I must have said it, but they sent me a big plaque from my gym at home, and it says, "My only day off is the day I pitch." And that was true. The work I did behind the scenes to get ready.
Conditioning, preparation, right?
So
yep.
physically, I got you. Mentally, I tell the kids I'm going to crush you. I got you mentally. Mentally, you have to be unflappable because, again, other people on the outside noise and things that they say things about you or whatever, you have to be, your focus has to be, and that's what I remind the kids when they're struggling a little bit. I say, can your focus be a little bit better? Are you hearing the popcorn vendor? Are you hearing the other dugout? Are you seeing people walking? Which they're like, oh, I am. And then emotions come into play. The third thing you play on emotions. Now, when my arm was hurting, I thought about my grandmother being sick. My mother passed away here. I drove actually from Austin when the doctor told me this is going to be it. My sister stayed. She wanted me to pitch that night in Houston for the Astros. The Astros wanted to send a plane to fly me. Said, I'm driving. I need the 2 hours just to think. So I drove home. So those happened. The other instance you're thinking about was I shattered a guy's bat at about a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and I didn't have to go anywhere. The split instance when when I throw the pitch, I'm 54 feet from you. I've been hit at baseballs where I've thrown balls in at 95 miles an hour. I had one hit me at 134 miles an hour. It still hurts. My molar still hurts thinking about it. It's just I wanted to cry, but I knew we were on TV, so I couldn't. But the bat I shattered, for an instance, that bat barrel came at me. I thought, for instance, it was the ball. So I was already in perfect fielding position. The bat took 2 hops, landed right in my hands, like I said,
right, yeah.
and I took it and crow hopped it to the on-deck circle. Well, the TV made us, oh, he threw it at the guy.
You know, I've seen that video.
I was
It looked like you threw it.
It looks like it's from you and I, yeah. Well, if I would have thrown it at Mevin, I would have hit him with it if I would have thrown it.
Peace.
And so I chunked it over there, and they made a big deal of it, and it was great theater for the TV company showing the series and blah, blah, blah. So it happens. Like I said, the emotions in 24 years, I showed my backside out there probably 6, 7 times. Not proud of it, but you know what? I care. I care about my work. I care about how I did my job. Now, my mother, when she was alive, would call me and say, honey, can you put your glove? And that's why you see all everybody's gloves going up front of their face all the time when I was griping and saying some things on TV like vacuum. I think it was, I said vacuum, Mom. That's what I was saying.
Right, exactly. You're just a bad lip reader. Here, take this. So let me ask you to that point. You know, one of the things about you, your reputation over the years was that you would throw pitches, kind of high, hard ones or tight pitches to people?
Not at all, not at all. People would say to another pitcher about being a headhunter. I think in 24 years.
So you think that's a unfair rap on you?
Oh, it's definitely unfair if somebody's saying that, because if not, they're not paying attention. I think in 24 years of pitching, I missed up and in on guys maybe 3 times. Now, you pitch inside to make a 17-inch plate a 24-inch plate. You don't pitch inside to hit guys. You want to expand the strike zone.
Did you ever throw at anybody?
There was games, there's youngsters in there, but there's games that you have to clean up. My teammates got hit, and they're sitting next to me, and I go, you got a problem with this guy? And he goes, yeah, I got a problem with this guy. It's the 3rd time he's hit me. So then our level, but what also is funny is too, I mean, you got to understand, I think I would get on our sportscasters because it's hilarious, because you see a baseball brawl, and everybody's like, oh, ooh, low. And you really, in a baseball brawl, the guy runs out, and you get a couple of swings in, it's a big pile up, and you're worried about getting stepped on or cleated, so you're just in a ball and pile hoping that you can breathe and not get stepped on.
Right.
And
Because
then
that's where you really get hurt.
Right, that's
Yeah.
where you get hurt, and everybody's going ooh and on. And then the very next segment, they go to a hockey game, and these two hockey guys are just
Bam,
knocking
bam,
each
bam.
other's teeth out.
And that's
this
part
is
of the
awesome.
game. Right, yeah. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
How was our time? Tell me how our time is. Are we good? Okay, sir.
Roger, thank
Yes.
you very much for what you do.
Thank
Really
you.
good, fun
Absolutely.
fan of yours.
Absolutely.
You alluded to some of your coaches, managers and coaches that made a difference. Tell me and tell us what made for a good coach, especially with somebody dealing with you.
So they knew your personalities, I think. But again, my high school coach, he's since passed. He was more of a father figure to me because he had me at 15, 16, 17. I played little defensive end. I was a good first baseman. And I was a great strike thrower. I had a curveball that my coach said, if you turn the lights out in here, I could throw it in the strike zone for strikes. So when we got in the playoffs in high school, our big hard throwers, which all the scouts were coming to see, wet the bed. And then coach would bring me in, and that's kind of how scholarship offers, because I was not going to be able to go to college. We didn't have the money.
Right, you mentioned to me that it was critical when you came to the University of Texas that you got
Yes,
financial help.
that's
You
right.
would not have come, but for that.
We had no means. My mom, like I said, worked 3 jobs, and I didn't have a car in high school. I ran back and forth from the field after practice to our house, to our townhome. So, but Coach Mariano, fantastic coach, better teacher of the game, and life lessons would say things to us, in our meetings. Played for Wayne Graham, same thing, great baseball man, great teacher. And then I played for Coach Gus, one of the winningest coaches of all time until Augie went past his deal. And Coach Gus would say things in the locker room, give us life lessons. But you can even go to the major leagues with Joe Torre. Joe Torre was a fantastic manager. People don't understand, Joe Torre was fired 4 or 5 times before he got that Yankees job.
Before it stuck,
I think
right?
the
Yep.
headlines were when the Yankees got him were not Shoeless Joe, but Clueless Joe. That's how hard they were on him.
Yeah.
What Joe did fantastically, I mean, we had an all-star at every position. You can fill the lineup out, turn us loose.
Right.
And we policed ourselves. Somebody didn't run a ground ball out, which is, I tell the youngsters, one of my biggest things is I tell them it takes 0 talent to hustle. I don't care if you're fast or slow. When you hit the ball, I brought a little kid from my children's wing downtown Houston we have a children's wing down there. Missing his hand, missing his foot. He'll never get the opportunity to make a swinging bump back to the pitcher and then turn into a track star and go down and bust that tape at first base. So when we see a guy not hustle down to first base or round it off, we clean it up right there, especially at the professional level. Joe Torre was great at handling our personalities and the media for the most part. If the media got below the belt, he would even call that guy aside and say, listen, these guys are grown men. It's not like they're not trying. We're trying. I'll tell you an example, too. I wish I could have said this on air. And it's one of my teammates I was talking to, just to put an example. We get in the World Series in Boston, and this player of ours, I won't mention his name, but he gets to the ballpark, and he strikes out with 2 guys on, pretty crucial part of the game, but early in the game.
This is a
strikes
guy
out.
on the Red Sox.
On the Red Sox.
So it's
Crowd-
1 out of 24 chance. We know
so 1 out of 24.
Yeah, right.
So the crowd kind of boos him a little bit. Second time up, crucial part of the game, strikes out a second time. And his third time up, really with the game on the line, fouls out to the catcher or the first baseman, and they rained down boos on him. What they didn't realize, he got there at game time. He missed all the warm-ups and everything. We were worried about having him even at the game, sending out police officers looking for him, blah, blah, blah. Well, earlier in that day, he was teaching his 6-year-old, I think, how to ride his bike without his training wheels. And the kid got away from him a little bit, and a car hit him on there and shattered his forearm. So he's in a hospital an hour before the game wondering if his kid's going to have an arm, shows up to play a game. So money doesn't, so what I'm saying, we're human beings.
We only see the part of the game. We see
That's
the
it.
game part, right?
This guy, the last thing he's thinking about is hitting a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah.
He's worried about his kid laid up in the hospital, his family over there. He's trying to get a base hit for us in a World Series game. Come on. So, but those, you have fantastic. I had to have, like I alluded to earlier, my catchers, they had to pay attention to detail. When because I called 95% of my game from the mound with my looks. At one point, when we got on to Nolan Ryan, Nolan would show his teeth to his catcher when he wanted to throw his changeup, and we figured it out. We also had pitchers where you see guys with gloves and the little finger thing, they
You
tuck
called
their finger.
95%?
95%. When the ball fouled off, I would look to whatever side. I don't give it all away, but I would look to a side.
Well,
of the
you're not
plate or
playing now. You can give it
You
away.
said you're my agent. I'm going to come back. I'm going to make a comeback.
but I was unsuccessful in persuading you to play.
You'd
so
make the
I'm-
gesture.
Give it
So
up.
we make a gesture, and then that's kind of where the side of the plate. If I'd stare straight down the barrel, he knew it was a split or a curveball. So if he gave one or another, so you had to be careful.
about
We were
that?
doing all kinds of stuff, but we had a guy on an opposing team too that was wild because he would throw fastball, wind up this way, nothing happened, and then when he throws curveball for some strange reason, his pointer finger would come off his glove. We got you.
You figured it out.
So now Altuve, instead of hitting 290, is going to hit 390. And so we watch that. That's why I encourage the young kids to practice perfect. You don't have to be out there for 3 hours. But the time that you're out there, let's practice perfect.
Make the most
get in
of it,
Make
right.
the most of it. And you practice perfect, so then when you get into a situation like right now, the College World Series, or we get the baseball playoffs, lights come on, they're extremely bright. You practice what you have. You set in prayer position. We had a pitcher in our World Series again in Arizona. He was giving up his pitches, and we were watching him closely to try and figure out the other team had his pitches. So when he would throw fastball, he would come set at his chin. To get his curveball, it took him a little longer. He'd come up past his nose or the bill of his logo. We got you.
Of course, he doesn't know he's doing it, but you
He
figured
doesn't
it
know
out.
he's doing it because the pressure's a little bit on him, and you just do things differently. So there's a lot going on.
You got some secrets. That should be your gift, but I'm going to give you a picture. So here you go. All right, we're going to take these last couple, and then we're going to let Roger get out of here. Sir.
Good seeing you, brother. Yes, sir.
And he got a handshake, too. Look at that.
All right, pretty good.
Is that a Stanford hat?
Who says that
It
public
is.
Is
television
that a
doesn't
Stanford? I
give
think Stanford's in the finals against Texas.
I didn't know
Right?
that. I'm sorry.
Take that hat off. Security, get that man out of here.
But yeah, it's cool that you're paying attention to the college game, and obviously you're paying attention to the game today. I wrote down some things just in case I got nervous here about how the game is changing recently, and I was curious about your opinion about some of these things, like the purported death of the sinker, the rise of the power curveball, launch angles, all the talk about launch angles for batters, and spin rates. I was wondering if, what you think of these is really making a change to the game, and if you think pitchers and batters are approaching the game differently.
That's a great question.
I think you've always had to be a great student. Even when I left Texas, I kept my notes on my hitters on 3x5 index cards with a pencil. I started it way back then. I started the long tossing prior to the game, just for the fact when I was in Fenway, the bullpen's like a dungeon. So I could not warm up properly there, so I had to throw long toss. So that kind of took off with the long tossing to stretch your arm out a little bit before you throw. The youngsters only need to work on their core work a little bit and play some long toss with their dad to strengthen their arm until they can get into some kind of controlled weights. I lifted football weights here with the football team that's how I got a lot of my strength, because we didn't have a set program, so we went and ran the stadium ramps.
Yep.
We used to run the stadium ramps and get sick and think that we were pitiful until we looked down and there's the swim team with these bicycle tire things on their legs, and they're pulling themselves with batting gloves up the ramp. And I go, we can't really complain anymore. These guys.
Right.
So
There's a program now, right? There would be a program now.
There is a program now.
Right.
But anyway, talking about the student part of the game, when we finish batting practice, after batting practice, say at home, we hit at 4:30. The other visiting team hits second. When we go in, they give us about 15 minutes to get a sandwich and a quick drink. We split off. We have scouts. So right now we have the work I do at the Astros. My title's assistant to the GM there. They don't hinder me with working with other teams. I just got a phone call from a starting pitcher on the way up here from Kansas City to watch his last two starts. He thinks he's tipping pitches. I said, I'll do the best I can when I look. We go into two different classrooms. Hitters go here. We have 4 scouts sitting in, say, Seattle right now watching the Mariners. If you're a new player for Seattle and you have a weakness, we're going to explore. We're going to go right to your weakness to see if you can't make an adjustment. And you have to make an adjustment quick, or you're going to be back in AAA, and that's the way things go. For me, when I grew up, I also knew the umpire. Before they had the Quiz Tech and all this technology, I knew the umpire. Some umpires sat on the inside part of the catcher, some sat on the outside, so they had a blind spot. So I knew that they would give me a strike on the outside corner. Here, he was calling it out here, so I'm going there. In a crucial part of the game, I'm going to throw to a ball outside and get that call. And so, but those are all in my notes. I also had the notes of the umpire's first name, like I encouraged my kids. I had his, if he was married, his wife's first name. When he come out the breakup and say, hey, how's Susie doing? Oh, thanks, Rod, she's doing great,
You know what I like about everything is politics.
Yeah. So,
right? Everything is politics.
You just pay attention to details, what I'm saying, instead of just being out there and throwing and heaving.
That would be something that's not changed.
Yeah, so you understand who the umpire is. You also are telling the umpire that you can't argue ball, but I'm making good pitches. He's not calling ball and strikes. Say we're in Chicago. We have a day game. We know everybody has dinner reservations, including the umpires. And he's not calling these close pitches for me. So he runs out. The pitching coach is upset too. He's out there. We're all meeting on the mound. And he waits because he knows we want to visit with the umpire without embarrassing in front of everybody on TV. And he comes out and I'll say, John, those are pretty damn good pitches. He goes, Rocket, you can't argue balls and strikes, so I have to throw you out. I said, I'm not arguing with you. I have somebody at home I can argue with, thank you very much. But what I'm telling you is if you don't start calling these close pitches, sorry, we're going to be out here for 3.5 hours.
And you're going to miss
none
dinner.
of us are going to dinner. And he gets back there and goes, Steve Reich. There we go.
Nice.
Very, very crafty. Here, come get a picture. All right, last one right here. Hi.
What was your fastest pitch that you pitched in a game?
Good question. I threw over 100 miles an hour about 9-10 times. 100 miles. I was in Detroit. My arm hurt for a week. No, so I could throw very fast, but I was a power pitcher. So if whatever it took to get this, what's the best pitch in baseball? You a baseball player?
Yeah,
What position did you play?
a lot.
A lot. I like that. Play a lot of positions. That's exactly right. Do you pitch?
Next year,
Okay. So when you pitch next year, what is the best pitch in baseball?
I don't know.
Strike one. Get it any way you can get it.
Right.
You get strike one and go from there, right? What's your first name?
Hayes.
Nice to meet you. Did you say Ace?
Hayes.
Ace. I was going to say Ace.
We should just call him
you're-
Ace now,
Yeah,
actually.
that's your nickname, Ace. We're
Now
going
we're
to get you
going to
on
call
the
you
mound.
Ace.
Can you
Come
say-
on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Do you set out to throw 100?
Is school out yet?
It's just out. Just out.
Just out, right?
Do you set out to throw 100 miles an hour? Did you get up at the plate or up on the mound thinking, I'm going to throw this one 100 as opposed to throwing at 92, or does it just happen?
It kind of just happens when there you go, champ. When you that's your pen.
There you go, Ace.
When you are throwing extremely hard, and I was ahead in the count, and I really wanted to turn one loose, and my mechanics were such that I was really, I felt together.
Yeah.
And it kind of just happens because your legs, everything comes together perfectly. Same way that 100 and some of my guys, I love the game of golf. My PGA friends, there's some of the guys that are 150 pounds. I played with Justin Thomas in the waste management. And I could not believe how easy he swung and how far the ball
Far the ball goes.
flying 320 yards, and
Yeah.
it's amazing how they do it.
Yeah. You're a very generous person with your time, I will say.
See
Give
y'all.
Roger Clemens a
Thanks.
big hand. Good. Thank you all very much. All right.